Jill's going to be a little pixelated for this episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, daily Wednesdays where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. I'm Vince Stone, joined every week by Jill, Fresh Roof Smell, Bryant. We're talking about the fresh roof smell.
Yes.
In the pre-show. Go back and listen to that if you're one of our patrons. But we got a lot of kernel stuff to talk about because we got kernel 6.16 and Ubuntu's doing some stuff with kernels. I'm going to tell you about the Snapdragon X Elite progress. That's been out for about a year. I'll give you an idea of where that's at. And what we were doing earlier in the live show, come check us out. LWDW on YouTube is making jelly arms. Because I'm going to tell you about Jellyfin and ARM and the thing I finally pushed out. But first, a little bit of ketchup, a little bit of mustard, maybe no Grey Poupon. Oh, what's going on? Definitely some ketchup. Since last week, you've been playing video games again, haven't you?
Yeah,
oh,
I have.
No.
I've been
tragic.
I've been posting a lot of pictures in our chat. I've been playing Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, and it's funny because when I paste the thumbnails, they look very similar to each other. In fact, I think some people get confused which game I'm playing.
I mean, when I see that in our super secret Discord, I was like, oh, Jill's playing a gacha game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't buy anything, so I'm
still
not. It's not. Yeah, it still is a gacha game, but I'm not using it.
You're trying to say like they look similar, and like they all do look similar. That's why I was like, yeah, it's a gacha game.
Well, Wuthering Waves has this almost the same exact mechanics as Genshin Impact. In fact, it just they have similar names to fighting or exploration. So if you love Genshin Impact and you like that to be able to explore an open world and fight bosses, it's got the exact same physics and mechanics Wuthering Waves does.
I look forward to the comments.
Yeah. But it's a very different game. Genshin is much prettier and it's more fantasy, which I do, of course, still prefer Genshin. But Wuthering Waves is fun because it has really good boss fights, but it's a little bit more militaristic. Right. Yeah. But they're great games. They're both great games.
Great games indeed. Speaking of fun games, man, we were playing Trackmania last night. We do the TM2 crew over here on YouTube. Got a great group of people. We get together on Tuesdays and Fridays. If you're looking for some physics platform puzzle nonsense, you really can't beat it. Great group of people. You're welcome to join in on that. Go check it out at TM2C over on YouTube. We'll be back on Friday for Rounds and RPG. Looking forward to that. Another thing I'm looking forward to is for the past, like 2, maybe 3 months, this box that Jill's running on has been powered by ARM because I wanted to test that. I took my Rock 5 ITX Rock chip motherboard, set it up, got jack on it, got audio over IP set up, got video capture. It's running a full desktop. How do you know? Because I could go boop, boop, boop.
Yes.
Like that. And there's some bad Vin bash scripting over there because I like to automate everything. And it's been working a treat. It's good. It's even got the RAID 0 HDMI capture card in it. It's got the Magewell
nice
bunch of the capture card that costs like 6 times more than the motherboard.
Yeah.
But it's an M.2 capture card. It's neat and has native Linux drivers. It's been working great, but I had to switch you over to the Orange Pi 5 Plus, which I'll be talking about later in the show. Stick around.
Yeah.
Because I finally have just a minute to sneak in an actual review of that Rock 5 ITX motherboard.
Cool.
And I got so much to write. We were talking in the pre-show. I'm like, oh, dude, I forgot how I did this and this because I need real-time scheduling set up. But I'm going to throw a little difficulty multiplier in because it's me, let's face it. How about we also make this board boot with UEFI?
Nice. Yes.
Where you just completely get rid of device tree, no putting a
Okay.
SD card special thing in there. Like, no, we're just going to throw. I think that's going to be part of the challenge. So stay tuned for
Nice.
that. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the latest Linux kernel 6.16, and it's really focused on AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA, at least according to FOSS News.
Yeah, actually, there's so much in this kernel release, but that is definitely a focus. It has lots of new hardware support as well, and like Ven was saying, enhancements for AMD, Intel, and NVIDIA hardware. For AMD CPUs, there is improved power and thermal monitoring, which is always great. There's also improved security for virtual machines and improved reset cause reporting for AMD Zen processors, which will help you identify and troubleshoot your system's crashes and restarts. And that's great too. And for Intel CPUs, there is TDX host support now for KVM for better virtual machine isolation, and a new overclocking watchdog feature for better monitoring and control of CPU performance. Also, and this is a big deal, a new x86 native CPU kernel build option for CPU-specific optimization, which is really, really cool. So you can optimize that kernel.
More Snapdragon support coming in there too, Joe.
Yeah, that's coming too. And in fact, let's see, the Linux kernel 6.16 adds improved Snapdragon X laptop support, including for the Asus VivoBook S15, which now has support for USB-A ports, the micro SD card reader, and Bluetooth connectivity, which is something important you need from your operating system. And for NVIDIA GPUs, there's added support for Blackwell and Hopper GPUs through the Nouveau driver, which is great. And KVM support for RISC-V is now no longer experimental. And also this kernel, Linux kernel 6.16 update now supports Apple's ARM M2 PCIe as well. And you can use your Apple Magic Mouse 2 via USB-C on Linux, finally. I know there have been a lot of complaints about that.
Both
and
of
now
you
that works.
are ecstatic.
Yes. And there's so much more in this Linux kernel release, Finn. Everyone check out our LWDW show notes for even more Linux kernel 6.16 updates. There were a ton of them. This was a big release.
Dude, so that's pretty cool, man. Improved power and thermal monitoring for the AMD CPUs. Like, because I know those, well, they don't run as hot as Intel do.
Yeah.
And the Intel stuff's always good to see. The Blackwell Hopper GPU, man, I'm really interested in to see, because we got another leak this week about NVIDIA's ARM chip and NVIDIA's SoC that they are nudge, nudge, wink, wink working on to put in laptops, consumer laptops. So I wonder what type of support we'll be getting or we'll be seeing with that, man. Hopefully it'll be interesting. It'll be fun. I'll be happy to play around with it. We need to talk about testing new Linux kernels on Ubuntu, because it's about to get easier, you say, huh?
Yeah, easier. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out about this, because it's actually a big deal. Ubuntu has a new kernel strategy, which is going to make testing new Linux kernels on Ubuntu a lot easier. Beginning with Ubuntu 25.10 questing Quokka due out in October, new upstream kernel releases, including intermediate versions, will be routinely packaged and tested. This change actually allows developers to detect kernel-related issues earlier in the development cycle, and the final version of Ubuntu will in turn be more stable and reliable. And this new schedule actually aligns with Ubuntu's new monthly snapshots and continuous kernel testing cadence. Also, the change will make it easier for users to test new upstream kernels without relying on third-party PPAs, and that is a big deal. So I just love this new cadence with Ubuntu, putting out sending out new kernels quicker. It's just so much nicer and so much better. We get better hardware support and all the things.
I find myself either running not like Red Hat or formerly CentOS, like RHEL kernels. We're not running them that old, but I kind of stick with Debian stable. So I got some old kernels laid around, but on the other hand, I'm building brand new kernels to test out stuff. I don't have like anything intermediate, but that is extraordinarily handy, especially if you're running over on the Ubuntu's when like you don't want them. The next upgrade's got the thing that makes your hardware work. We've all been there. We've all been there. We're like, I need that thing. And, previously you'd wait for like hardware enablement stack to show up. So yeah, dude, having a nice little testing cadence you can pop in, play with. Pretty cool. Pretty wonderful. Cool. And you don't have to worry about like, working with somebody else's PPAs. Now, then again, I do encourage everybody. It'll sound daunting, but it's not. And it frees you up as learning how to build a kernel and install a kernel.
Absolutely.
It is easier now than it has ever been. Not a lot to it. And that just having that freedom of like, oh, I need the latest whatever. Okay, let me just go to kernel.org and we're going to grab that and we're going to build it and away you go. So love to see it. Very happy. Okay. Now, Snapdragon X Elite. We talked about it over a year ago, Jill. It's been a year.
Yes, we did. We did.
When they announced it.
Great.
Then we got like different things going on. Well, there's been a post over at Lenaro.org. I need to cut the scroll speed down a little bit, man, so we get an idea.
It's zippy.
Yeah, dude. So a full year after the announcement of that chunky Snapdragon SoC Linux support is getting there. And that's what Lenaro is up to telling us about. Kernel 6.15 already supports 6 laptops. So that's amazing. That's good. But Lenaro's been working with Qualcomm and ARM to get everything working better. 100%. They're looking for parity with like the Windows, that other operating system. And one company that Lenaro's been working with is somebody we've talked about on this show a couple of times, Tuxedo. They've shown off the Qualcomm prototype laptop that they have. And we're like, that's pretty cool. Well, they got 2 of those prototypes and they've been helping getting that critter in shape, which is great to see. And now it's too slow. Now it's too slow. We're going to go even faster. Now we're going to shrink it so we can see this video.
Yeah, that's a great video. Yeah.
And take a look at it. This is the Elite 14 Gen 1 prototype at Lenaro Connect. Lenaro, I don't know. Those are words. We can see it if we pause, Jill. That's Portal.
Yeah, it sure is. I was really excited about that. Portal love.
Dude, it's not even moving around, but it's Portal on the screen. It is a game. They do eventually juggle it a little bit. And you're like, hey, it moves. And that's really good to see. They demoed the Elite 14 Gen 1. As I said, the video demo shows off the laptop using an external monitor, an external keyboard, while having a browser open on the laptop itself. And it was charging, because apparently that's an issue. I'll pause it right here. Unfortunately, this is a vertical video. Strike 1.
Yeah.
Strike 2 is what I paused it on. This is what so many people are going to take away from this, and it's unfair that they will. But let me tell you a little bit about marketing. Everybody who walked by that laptop with this super cool Snapdragon Elite in it, with your super cool work that's being done by Tuxedo and Lenaro, they're going to go, why? What's wrong with the keyboard?
Yeah.
Why aren't these like? Does it come like that? Is it broken? Like, do I got to pay extra? I know that sounds like a very silly thing, but it's because you're thinking like, like high level. I know, but they're like, what's wrong with the keyboard? That's going to be a big takeaway from that. It's quite unfortunate to say, but I wish I was joking. It's a little bit of a demo fail. But free demo advice on that. Good to see. There we saw Portal wiggle around for a minute.
Yeah.
And whoa, that's full screen. Go away. What do you think, Jill? Are we excited about this?
Yeah, I'm This is wonderful. Like you said, we've been talking about this the last year, and it's been really wonderful following the progress of this new platform. And I think it's really, really great that we're finally getting, Linux as a first-class citizen running on hardware that is not only as fast as x80 chipsets, but has lower power requirements and longer battery life, is actually a dream of every Linux user. So Snapdragon X could be that new platform. So I was very thrilled. And what's really nice also is that Ubuntu 24.10 has a concept distro available, and Canonical is adding ARM 64 laptop support for Ubuntu 25.04. That's a big deal. And Fedora is also working on support. And yeah, so this is it's really exciting. I can't wait to get my hands on a Snapdragon X, ARM processor laptop. That would be really awesome.
I want one to play with. I see our theory in the chat. He's talking about Tuxedo ARM. Yeah, once they get one put together. Now, something I do want to mention, though, because I was doing a bit of reading up on like Tuxedo as a company and how they put stuff together. Apparently, they've had some issues, like not upstreaming some of the work they've done in the past, like where the kernel developers are like, seriously? Like, okay, they've gotten better about that. But there's a Tuxedo like configuration utility for their desktop, and apparently it's Electron, and it's not that great. So it's not that great enough to where the community's built a better one. Of course, in Rust, because we got to build things in Rust.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, if you know somebody with Tuxedo laptops, or if you got one yourselves, because there's a high chance you need to go check out Tuxedo-RS.
Nice.
Which is a configuration utility that the community's put together, which by all accounts is a bit more superior to the Electron-based system that they have. I just wanted to give that a mention. So, before we get out of here, everybody's enjoying, it's amazing. We thought it would be retro to have Jill come in over a dial-up connection this week. It's been working really great.
Yeah, I guess it's just our relay. I mean, I have gigabit symmetric up and down. I mean...
As a lesson that everybody learns, no matter how fast your internet is, it's the what's in between you and the thing you're trying to get to, man.
Exactly, between me and Ven. And it hasn't happened in a long time, Ven. We've had this happen before, like ages ago, but it's been a while.
Yeah, aren't you on like, AT&T?
Frontier? No, Frontier. Which was Verizon. Now it's going to actually, now it's Verizon again. So...
oh man, we just want to give them a shot. Again, it's not their fault. Like, it's just like whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Cloudflare could be having issues, because this thing's sitting behind
that's
that
what
on
I'm
the
thinking.
reverse proxy. I don't know, but hey, you still sound fine. That's all.
Oh, good. That's what matters.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I was looking at this. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. This is a Rasta X4. What I'm holding in my hand, it's about the size of a Raspberry Pi. It's got 3 USB 3s. It's got gigabit Ethernoodle on the back. But if you flip it, inside of here is an N100 x86 CPU, a big champion of this thing. Why? Because, it's also got M.2 on it. This one's got 16 gigajoules of memory RAM. It's small, and it was like $80.
Sweet.
When this thing showed up, it was first announced, I was like, now Raspberry Pi's got problems. Why? x86. There's no faffing about with this. You just put whatever Linux distro you want on it and off to the races, dude. And you're done with it. You don't have to worry about like particular ARM quirks and things like that. But it got me thinking. Because people show up and they say, man, media servers. And Jordan and I were talking about this because Jordan's got a Jellyfin media server, and I know a couple other people that have setups at home. I'm like, well, what are you running? And it's usually like an old, I think he was using like an 8150, like an old AMD, like for a while. He's upgraded it since then. And they got a discrete GPU. Why? Because they want hardware accelerated transcoding and all that. I'm like, okay. Can I do this with ARM? And I did. This just started out as a weird side tangent because I did a little bit of searching. And, you go to the ARM website. Not the ARM website, the Jellyfin ARM website. Yeah, the ARM website, don't go there. Well, I mean, I guess you can. dude, like right on the hardware requirements, they're just like, they just throw the Raspberry Pi under the bus, like right at the beginning. Why? Because, well, the SoC in the Raspberry Pi doesn't have like hardware accelerated video encoding. Like it's not great for this. They're just like, it is too slow to provide. But they gave me a little bit of hope there at the end. They say, you might be able to get it to run with a Rockchip 3588, but it's for advanced users, Vin. And I'm like, oh no, whatever will I do? Oh man, it's for advanced. Aw. That's just challenge accepted right there. So
yeah.
I started playing around with it. My test subject was my Orange Pi 5 Plus, which I just used for everything. That's Rockchip 3588 based. Threw some drives in it, plugged it in, and I also wanted to do this because I thought it would make a good example, because this thing is completely fanless. They have a good case for it that you can put on it. Silent, runs cool. It's got an NVMe hole on the back of it. You want to throw some storage in it, but it's also got eMMC. So, even if you wanted to do a self-contained setup, you could have all your boot and your transcode area on like a 256 gig module and just put all your storage there. But most people are going to have this plugged into a NAS. And on top of that, that means it's got dual 2.5 gig ether noodles on the back of it. I'm like, man, this is a good system if it works. So I grabbed ARMBN. I went over to the Jellyfin. I followed their instructions. Didn't work at all. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Get everything installed on the NVMe. And I'm like, well, since this is Jellyfin, I need to fix what was broken. So I made a script that if you have a Rockchip 3588 motherboard, the bash script is called Peanut Butter, because we're playing with a jelly.
That's perfect.
Yeah, this gets all of your compute stuff installed. It gets Jellyfin set up. It takes care of all the UDEV rules for acceleration. And then all you got to do is just set it up like you normally would a Jellyfin system. Now, you're like, what is Jellyfin? It's Plex. You remember Plex, just your media server, where you can put all of your Linux ISOs, and you can watch all of your Linux ISOs that you've gotten over the years and collected. And it does things like album art, actors, show titles, review, all the crazy fun stuff where you can dump photos on it, music on it. It's the home media server, and there's also applications for Android and iOS where you can have it on your mobile devices, and you can use it from inside the house or outside the house, or even remotely. If you're like at your neighbor's house, you can connect to it over the internet if you so choose. But the questioning thing was getting the hardware acceleration working, because a good example is I got a 4K Blu-ray Linux ISO that I've saved on my drive. And I'm out and about. I'm coming in over the bad Wi-Fi on the back lawn, or, I'm somewhere else. I don't have the upload bandwidth to sling all that, so you got to transcode it. You got to crunch that big chunky, high bitrate file into something else that you can send over a smaller connection. Do this all the time. You don't want to use up all your bandwidth, even on your local area network. You're going to be doing that. And transcode's pretty expensive. It's going to make the CPU work really hard unless you're taking advantage of the hardware accelerated bits. Now, typically, if you had an Intel or an AMD system, you'd also have like an NVIDIA or AMD GPU in there to take care of that. This Rockchip, the reason we can get away with it is because it's got the Rockchip MPP. And that's what this little script and setup enables. So we can have hardware decoding for everything. AV1, VP8, H.264, HEVC. All of this stuff's working, even the 10-bit stuff. And it'll do the HEVC encoding. Doesn't do AV1 encoding. And more importantly, it does tone mapping, Jill. Tone mapping is something that's kind of wild, because if you've ever watched HDR content, well, on your SDR display, let's say I was watching some HDR video of an enchanted cobra chicken, okay? Here's an enchanted cobra chicken, aka swan.
Yes.
That's what it's going to look like. But if you want to do the tone mapping for it, and all of your 4K Blu-rays are going to be HDR. So you're going to need something to take those color bits and convert it so you can watch it on your SDR display, be your monitor, your TV. Maybe you don't have an HDR TV or a monitor, or your tablet or phone or laptop or wherever, so that it looks like this. not like this.
Yeah.
I got that working. In order to get that
Sweet.
working, you got to get OpenCL and compute set up because that's very computationally expensive. Yeah. But my little script takes care of that for you. Now,
awesome.
Back to the super cool thing, though. Back to the Intel. This is an Intel N100 Alder Lake quad-core x86 running at however many gigahertz it runs at. And it's got Intel QuickSync, which is what you'd be using for your transcoding. It works, not a problem. You set it up. If you set it up at home, like I never looked at like how fast it was going, and it's not too bad. This little, and it's low power too. It's like 9 watts. It can transcode a 4K video down to 720p at about 93 frames per second, which is pretty good. Which is, I was like, all right, it's not too bad. Then I lit up this rock chip box. I did, Joe.
Look at that.
It wasn't doing 93. It was doing 277.
Wow.
On the same video. And I'm like, oh my, I might have to make a little video about it. And I did.
Definitely.
And on top of that, it was doing it using 3 watts less power.
Nice.
3 watts less power just to turn the knife. I mean, almost a 3x performance increase on this. 2.86 times faster than the N100. Really fun experiment to see what we get away with. And you might have especially if you have an older system, repurposed PC hardware sitting there. You got an old Intel CPU, an old AMD CPU, you got a GPU on top of that just sitting there running all the time. You can take a little ARM system like this, dude. Like,
I know, amazing.
At idle, it's going to be using like 2 watts sitting there doing nothing, and it'll probably outperform whatever old kludge system that you got put together. You got a NAS, even if you don't have a NAS. These things got Wi-Fi built into them. Something to be on the lookout for. Any Rockchip 3588, you should be able to get up and running, and it's a fun little project. I think it's really cool, man. It really like it.
I remember you were so surprised by the results because when you ran Steam on it, of course you get, the games would play, but you didn't really want to play the games on there.
Well, right. And I say this like right here at the beginning, because they're like, well, it might work on a rock. And this is coming directly from Jellyfin. And I'm like, bro, I played Steam games. Like emulated. I was like, I think it might be able to handle a transcode, like to what Jill's saying, right? Like it might be able to get away with it. Might not. We don't know. Turns out it's a really good solution, and not necessarily just an orange pie, but like anything with a Rockchip 3588, because that's not it's not the most expensive Rockchip board that you can find, but it's not like the budget board. I think you can get them for like 120, 130 euro. I think convert to like US, about the same thing. So go play with it. Go check it out. Don't sleep on it. You can build a silent Jellyfin server in the house. And I talked with somebody on the ARM project about this because he said, we got a Jellyfin install script built into the ARM installer. And I'm like, you're the first person to tell me that. Then I went and checked it out, and it does function, but it doesn't enable the HDR to SDR tone mapping.
Oh, okay.
And it also shoves it in a Docker container. And I'm like, we don't need to bring Docker into a relationship where we're just trying to run Jellyfin on a single board computer. Maybe you want that. You don't feel comfortable with that added layer of complexity. And you need that in your life. I don't. So, there you go, everybody. Interfacinglinux.com. Go check out the video. Give it a like. Maybe subscribe if you like it and you feel like subscribing on YouTube. That just means that you'll be notified in like 3 or 4 weeks when I make another video. Leave a comment. Be like, hello, this is my favorite type of soup. And you'll confuse and anger people. It'll be a good time. All right, beautiful people. That's going to wrap us up for this week. If you want to find what we do, me and Jill get up to, all the information is on linuxgamecast.com. You can find the other podcast Jordan and myself get up to itch.io, being under fire for payment. fiascos, Fallout 1 in 3D, all that and more on last week's Linux Gamecast. But you can find all of our Patreon stuff over at patreon.com if you want like the pre-show, the post-show, access to our Discord. You want the non-YouTube version video that you can download and not have to worry about none of the other stuff that we get up to. You want to get in contact with us, best way to do it is just leave a YouTube comment. I can get you right there, or you can leave it a comment under the Patreon post. Definitely get back to you there. We got an email address. If you want to come on the show, come hang out, be like, hey, I'm working on a project. I want to talk about it. We'd love to shill for you. It'd be awesome. No reply at linuxgamecast.com. Trust me, it is monitored. And of course, patreon.com/LinuxGamecast. That's how we do it. And speaking of how we do it, we also put your name in the credits because I think that's a silly thing to do. And I like having credits for the show. And I also want to thank the people who make this show possible. So that means bouncy music time, Joe.
Bouncy music time. Get to thank our patrons, including our wonderful advisor, our Theron, our executive producers, Barbara, Scott, Atomic, 12345, Drummer 7, our Chicago Kicks Mules level, Basil, Empty, Glory Sagroll, our Sea Monsters, John, Dirty Dean, Dementor, System T, RL, some of our death notes, Leonardo,
Good old
Dodger,
RL,
Kim,
some
Chris,
of our death notes. Yep. Like Beckett,
our Cheerling,
Mr. Amish.
S. Michelleism, DSNG Joe, and the list goes on. I try and get to all the names at least once throughout the year because there's so many.
All right, somebody get a
you.
spreadsheet open. We got to keep track of this.
Yeah.
Beautiful people, have a great rest of your week. Get up to something. Go head over to Interfacing Linux. If you get any questions about some of the audio video production or just questions in general, I got a form over there. Don't collect any information. There's no ads on the stuff we do. Listener supported. And have a great rest of your week, everybody. I'll be back on Thursday. No, Jordan will be back on Thursdays. I'll be back on Friday for TM2 Crew over at TM2C on YouTube. If you want to see a bunch of elderly 30 to 40-year-olds try to play puzzle racing games, it's a great time.
Oh, when I'm there, that number goes up much higher.
Jill's like 6 years older than me. She's like, get away from me, Sonny.
No, 50s.